Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of TMI with Michaela, and today's topic is Does Size Matter? We got a guest here in the house. Can we get up for Rick Parma?
Hey, what's going on? We didn't finish that title. It's does size matter when it comes to an audience?
Yes, does size matter when it comes to an audience? All right, you guys. So some of you guys may not know Rick, but he is multi-talented. He's a singer, sax player, DJ.
Yeah, DJ, host. I do karaoke, party, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Do you dance?
No.
Everybody got it in then.
I dance from the waist up when I'm sitting only. That's it. That's all
you got
get.
A wedgie going on right there.
TMI
with Michaela. All right, you guys. So I met Rick at Downtown Cinemas. There's a speakeasy. What is the place called again?
Well, it's actually the District North Theater, and
yes.
they changed Theater 1 into basically like a speakeasy vibe with like a bar and, candles and tables and fancy stuff, all that kind of stuff. And it's a really cool spot for, renting out for live events and parties.
Yeah, if you guys need an event space, you guys can hit your girl up.
There you go.
MDD's Consulting, 702-533-0859. Hey.
Dang.
I'll give you my social later. No, but yeah, you're multi-talented, but that's not the only place. So right now, where can we find you? Where are you getting booked at?
Well, right now, the only place that I have that's weekly that I tell everybody about is C3. C3 on Spring Mountain. It's like a seafood boil kind of spot, and it's up on the second floor of the what is it called?
Shanghai Plaza.
Yeah, Shanghai Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm there every Sunday, 7:30 to 11:30. I'll actually be there tomorrow as well, Thursday for anybody who's listening, because they had a private party last Sunday, so we swapped out 2 dates. But anyway, normally there I'm every Sunday 7:30 to 11:30. I was hired to basically entertain and then open it up for karaoke if people want to come up and sing, which I never did before I moved to Vegas, because I was originally from Chicago, then I was in LA for a while, and then just moved here to Vegas in March. And somebody asked me about doing karaoke, and I'm like, yeah, I would host that, just because I've been doing this for so long that I just decided that, any way that I can make my living in somewhere and it has to do with music instead of having to do like a regular job.
Yeah.
I haven't had a regular job in like 25 years, except for during the couple years of COVID, because when they shut stuff down. So
over 25 years. Wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's all I've ever done. And so going back to, let's see, I was like 18 or 19 years old when I was working at a plumbing company in Chicago.
That was your last job?
That was my last job, yeah.
Wow.
So
okay, so I have lots of questions.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
25 years. That's how old I am. I'm 25. So, wow, that's awesome. So your last job was 18, doing plumbing.
Yeah.
How did you get into music, and what made you? Because that's a big jump to say hey, I'm not going to work a regular job and I'm going to pursue my dreams and sing.
I started freshman year of high school in Chicago playing saxophone. It was a long story on how that happened. Quick story short, or long story short is somebody that lived in an apartment that my parents owned where we stayed. We had a 3-flat, and so we stayed in one, and then me and my brothers, we stayed in the second floor, and then we had a tenant who was in the next apartment. And when he left, we didn't realize he was actually a hoarder. He was hoarding in our apartment, and so when they got rid of him, they said, "We got to go. We got to get you out of here." And in one of the things that he collected was this old saxophone. And so when I started freshman year of high school at Kelly High School in Chicago, shout out Trojans, the teacher was like, "Well, we only have 2 saxophones in there for our band, so you got to pick an instrument." I said, "Well, I have a saxophone." He goes, "Oh, okay, cool." So he just said, "I'll fix it for you," and then that was it. I would practice that there at the house with that one, and then he said, "Just you could use ours when you're here."
That's nice.
Yeah, and so that worked out. So I've been playing saxophone since I was 14, and I moved to LA when I was 30.
Why did you move to LA? Was it because of
just the music? Yeah, the music scene. I wanted to get out of Chicago, and because it wasn't enough work, and
in Chicago for music.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great city, but it's not like a massive entertainment city like a New York or
LA. Vegas is getting there.
Vegas, I'm finding that Vegas is even better than all of them combined because I mean if you think about it, there's probably like, I don't know, 1,000, 10,000 stages here in Vegas. I mean, I don't care if they're small or big. There's a stage somewhere, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's at bars. And
that's true. We will make a stage.
Right. There's a bazillion bars, bazillion casinos, hotels, and I mean, that's why, people do it on the street. They just,
actually, now that you say that, that is true. I mean, Vegas... Dang, I never really thought about it because growing up, I was like, who knows about Vegas?
Yeah, people think when you're young, you think, oh, it's just about gambling and shows like Broadway and that kind of stuff. But it's really so much more than that. And from a musician standpoint, if you're okay with just working and not even so much becoming famous, like I can care less. I want to.
You could get gigs.
You can work all the time, yeah. And if you think about it, it's like I know a bazillion musicians that love when they get a gig because they normally have to do a day job.
Yeah.
And so me not having to do that, okay, maybe I might live a little smaller at times because I just moved out here, so I'm finding work and things like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've been doing that for years. Conserving whatever I have, and then then once I start working, I'm working all the time.
Technically, you're an entrepreneur.
Pretty much, yeah.
You really
it's
are,
your own
actually.
business, yeah.
Because you have to find your gigs.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure there were a lot of gigs that you did for free too to get your name out there.
Mm-hmm. And I still do every once in a while, depending on. I always looked at, getting paid in 3 different ways. One was like actual financial, one was views, and then the other one's a combination of both. So if you're not playing to a lot of people, you want to at least be getting paid a better amount because you feel like you're kind of wasting your time almost. But if you're playing to a zillion people, you don't mind if the money's not so bad because you're getting more eyeballs and more exposure.
Really?
So,
I hear people say actually like the opposite. Like if this is a bigger crowd, I deserve bigger money.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically as you get bigger and more popular, yes. But when you're just starting out and when you're, just a musician who nobody really knows, those eyeballs are cash, in your pocket.
Like you never know who's watching.
And you never, exactly. Yeah.
That's true. Like anybody in the industry could be all like, wow, I really like this guy's voice. And they're just eating. They're just eating as a regular customer. And the next thing you know, like, hey, I want to sign you up on a record deal. Like that. I know that sounds so unrealistic, but it's very realistic.
Well, I mean, you could be doing a little karaoke gig at a theater, and then 2 weeks later, I'm doing a radio show on PHLV.
You're right.
Name drop.
You guys know what's crazy? Because you're naming all of these Filipino businesses that you're working with, these Filipino names and stuff. Yeah. It's so crazy because I know all of those names you're talking about, and I work with them too. And what's crazy is because I did not meet you in the Filipino community at all.
No, it's funny because
so crazy.
And we were talking about that off air. But yeah, I'm actually an artist for Deaf Talent agency, which is Definitive Talent. Ron Cabildo, who's in here all the time promoting his shows and things like that. And it's really I mean, Neupitz. I know all the Neupitz locations, and I knew of Neupitz before I moved here because there's one in Anaheim.
LA. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't perform there regularly or anything, but I performed there for a private party. So I was like, how do I know that name? And then I moved here, and then I was driving down Decatur, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's another location.
He's Filipino and inside.
Right, exactly. And so I've already done a lot of events for Ron, and I love Ron. He's just an easygoing guy, but he comes with a musician background, so he knows kind of how we think.
Yeah.
And so he knows how to promote based on what audience wants and what your strengths are versus just throwing you into something that you're not comfortable with or you don't want, And doing this for as many years as I have, I kind of told him, I'm like, look, there's things I just don't want to do. And he's like, okay, cool.
What are those things that you don't want to do?
Well, I'm not really into
promoting. The easiest way of saying it's not my responsibility to bring people to you.
You know what? Yeah, that's something that I've always thought, because there's everybody on the team has a job. The promoter has their job, the venue has their job, and the artist has their job. And it's like, if the venue didn't want an entertainer, then don't hire an entertainer. But don't hire an entertainer to try to bring customers to your place.
Yes. Yeah. This is a topic. So actually, this is where I'm really getting into. Mm-hmm. So actually, for those who do not know, that's how my marketing business started, and like my event side started, is because of singing at restaurants, singing at all these places and stuff. And I remember one time somebody told me, They found me on Facebook, and they're like, how do you know all of these people, and why is nobody at your show, or why is nobody here when we booked you?
Right.
In my head, I didn't know I was supposed to bring people to come and eat and stuff. I thought you guys wanted to hear me sing.
Right.
And then you start realizing these restaurants and all of these other businesses that are booking people, sometimes they're not even booking you because of your talent. They're booking you because of your influence.
Exactly, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they care about the bar sales being up. They care about, is this person's crowd buying food?
Right.
Are they freeloaders? Yeah. Are they just here for a good time? Yeah. Are they repetitive? Is this good income? So this is like the business side of entertainment.
This is a side that most musicians, even though they say they're professional musicians, they're not professional at the musician business. I did a short stint on YouTube of probably I think it was 10 or so videos of how to be a gigging musician. That was the title of it. And 90% of it was just how to be a professional as your job is being a musician. Not so much how to play your instrument, because that's up to you. But everything from showing up on time to not playing so many of your originals because people don't know who you are.
Correct.
Not playing too loud, being able to have a good mix so you don't sound like just some guy in the corner. And it's funny because there's a place that I play at on Saturdays in Tivoli Village. Every Saturday I'm there. It's called Cialvino. The goal that the guy really booked me for is the patio, which once they finish putting it together and it's warm enough for the patio, they're going to have me outside.
Nice.
Which for me financially is cool, because then I'll be getting paid. Plus I'll be making a lot in tips because it's right on the corner and people can. There's a lot of foot traffic.
More people in, actually.
A lot of foot traffic. All that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm literally tucked next to the bar, and I have my in-ears on. I don't even bring a speaker, and all I do is send my signal from my gig rig to their house, and he just pipes it in.
Wow.
And he pipes it in so quiet. Like it's literally just as quiet as any little radio show that they have at a restaurant anyway.
Cool.
And so I don't even invite people because I'm like, they're going to come to see me. Cool. And they're not going to be able to barely hear me. It's really that quiet. And so,
cool.
But in my head, it's a concert because I got my mix going through my ears and everything. So, and I don't even play my acoustic sax. I just play my electronic sax. You know,
that takes a lot of guts. So there's two main points I want to make in this. First of all, the
You better write them down. We're going to have a
side.
couple of them.
The promotional side, that's something else. And I feel like, to be honest, I feel like that's kind of why I got out of it a little bit. And I felt like, well, because I moved to private events more.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't want to say there's more money in private events, but there's less work that I have to do for more money, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. I know. I put concerts on in the LA area. I would rent out the ballrooms at Cerritos Performing Arts, and Cerritos, which is also a very Filipino area. And I'd have my band as a house band, and I would bring in different people from around the place, around LA or around different states, and put on these shows. We'd sell a couple hundred seats, sometimes 400 or 500 seats when we did dinner shows and things like that. But after COVID, nobody wanted to come out. Everybody was freaking out still, even a year later. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying to do this anymore and risk, not being able to sell the seats. And
correct.
After
It's
doing this
hard.
so long, I just got to a point where you kind of went the opposite way. You were like, I'm going to go into marketing as opposed to being a musician. I was like, I'm going to stay a musician and forget the marketing. Like I'm going to let somebody else do that and tell them straight up, like, if you want me to perform because I'm good and that your people will like me, you got to bring people.
See, I feel more confident in fighting for other performers than rather for fighting for my own. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just, it feel weird. Like, you should pay me. No, you got to pay my entertainer.
And I'm the same way. Like, I'm horrible at marketing myself, talking about myself.
If you tell me to market you, welcome to TMI with Maikayla. I'm here to market you today. It's just easier to hype somebody else up than to hype your own self up. Yeah. And but with that being said, I felt like there was so much pressure. Honestly, it was so much pressure. And this is what I learned about like these type of gigs, is that I needed to collab with other people, because it's a thing. You have your crew who comes in all the time, but there's going to be a time when your family and your friends are tired of, especially if you're doing this for a living. How many gigs do you have to do?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What, they're going to go to every single one of your gigs, spend money on, you know what I'm saying? And, for me, I'm the type of person, if I invite you, I want you to be taken care of and not have you spend all the time. But I felt like
I agree.
When I was in that spot, I was like, oh, you're the friend of the entertainer, but you have to pay. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It really does come down to everybody has their own job. And it's been a saying of mine now for about a year and a half. It drives me crazy, because like when I have a bad experience, what comes out of my mouth is, why am I the only one doing his job?
Yeah.
Because you do. I get there early. I set up sound. I mean, that's, even if you think about it, running sound is not the musician's job either. But at the same time, on the local level, on the small level, you have to do that. Now, granted, I've played at some casinos and places where they have their own sound. You just come in and you set up to theirs, which I absolutely love. I did the Lift Bar at Aria, and it was so cool because I thought I was supposed to wait for the sound guy. And when the sound guy got there, he goes, no, once you start, the compressor kicks on and shuts the music off by itself.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, that blew me away. I was like, oh, I like that. But it's a matter of, I'm here to do my job. You're here to do your job. And it's like, I'm not here to sell fettuccine. I'm like,
I know that sounds bratty from the outside. It's really not, though.
But it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it's like, of course, I'm going to sell more fettuccine by me performing and people enjoying the time there. Yeah. But I can't be the one that you count on your business and your brick and mortar staying open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, it's dependent on you. So on the marketing side, I remember as a marketer, when I would open up new businesses, it's like I was the one getting blamed. Like, they're going to blame. It's so easy for anybody to blame the entertainer and the marketer, but it's like, it's everybody's job. Like, let's say if I promote an event but you guys aren't even doing it, or like putting an event together, like, what's the point here?
Well, it's funny because I did Max and Jazz. I played there with a band. It wasn't my band. I was just there to play with them, and they had like 12 13 people on a Friday night in the place, maybe 20 tops total throughout the entire night. And I approached the guy because the manager was like, they're looking for somebody to do like a solo thing. And I said, okay. So I started talking to him, and I did a Monday night, which is usually a dead night anywhere, except for sports bars that are watching football, you know? And so I had like 6 people come out, and there was maybe 3 other people in the room like the whole night. And I did my set, and they loved it. And the first thing they said on an email was like, or the manager was like, if you could bring more people. And I'm like, okay, cool. No, I just kind of, she wasn't the one in charge. So, but when I sent my email to the owner, I said, I really had a nice time, but I was disappointed that you guys didn't have enough clientele in there. I turned it around on them. Like,
Good.
It's your job. Like, you guys have been here for 40 years.
Why don't you have clientele?
Exactly. You know, and
I'm just here to set the vibe for y'all.
And really, that's the case. I mean, it's exactly what it is. If you're on a football team and you're the quarterback, you can't throw the ball to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody has to do their job, and everybody has to do their job well if you want to win. If you want to be like my Chicago Bears and always lose, then nobody does their job. Sorry, that's a grudge I still have since I was a kid.
But no, this is good information. This is good feedback. There's another topic I want to hit real quick. So there are days where there's nobody in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
And we've experienced that. I witnessed it. But first of all, let me just say it takes some real thick skin to perform. Oh, I just spit. To perform to nobody. And we talked about this.
Oh, my gosh.
So tell me about that. Tell me about performing to an empty audience.
When I moved here, I ran across some people that had a venue. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to give them any promotion. They had a venue, and they said, okay, we're going to do this Friday night. You're the musician. You just do your thing, and I'll promote it, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, cool. First night we did it, and the place was literally sold out. Like, it was packed. And
Awesome.
it was a huge venue that could at least fit 150 people in there.
Cool.
And I had a blast because I thought, okay, cool, this is a great spot. And then a month later, we decided to do the same date, same time, same Friday. And literally, I was performing to a waitress and a bartender.
Wow.
And the lady who was booking. Like doing the
How did that
and
make you feel?
she's like the promoter / booker for the restaurant.
Oh, snap.
So it was literally just I'm a nut. Don't ask. Everybody always asks me how I do this, but I don't take breaks when I do gigs if I can avoid it. And so I did 4 straight hours on a stage by myself.
Why do you do that? Is it so they don't have any complaints about like, oh, you weren't even working?
Some that I mean, I guess that could be a fallback reason. Most of my time that I don't like taking breaks is because I get bored, and then it makes the time go slower. Even though obviously, based on physics, time doesn't go slower, but it just feels like that. And you know how you go to somewhere and you're like, hey, how many more hours you got here? And they're like, oh, I'm just glad it's busy because time goes quicker. Everybody just seems to say that when it's busy, time goes by quick.
Yeah.
And so I've just gotten to a point where I just like singing and like performing and playing sax, and so I don't take a break. And then and it's funny because like if I have to use the restroom, I'll throw on a song like "We Are Family" because I know it's like an 8.5 minute song and I got time. But like whether it comes to me doing private parties or restaurants or whatever, I just keep going, because I feel like it's not like I'm Cirque du Soleil and I'm doing backflips, beating my body up like crazy. If anything, I'm maybe just hurting my feet for a couple hours. But I feel like when I start stopping, if there's people there, they're going to get up and leave because they think I'm done, or something. And even if it's full, if I don't really know anybody, I'm not going to I'm a talker, so if I sit down at your table, I might start talking for 30 minutes
Yeah, he
and not
was
shut
just
up.
sitting next to us.
Right.
He pulled up a chair. I said, okay, we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like, and then like you said, that reason of I'm making sure I'm doing my job.
So they don't have any reason to complain and be like, you don't deserve all of this.
Well, and not only that, I don't know any venue owner, restaurant owner, somebody who hasn't had a complaint of the musicians take too long breaks.
Yeah,
and I know that for a fact because I've seen musicians when I had my own band, we take a break and they scatter like roaches, like gone. It's like, and then when the
I
second,
need you back now.
yeah, when set 2 comes up, you can't find them. They're outside. They're down the street. One guy, will drive down, 5 miles away to go get some food, and like, we're in a restaurant. Grab something here.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's one of those things where you just like, you just have to. That's the professionalism side. So I think if I'm there for only 4 hours, most
True.
people do an 8-hour worday.
Suck it up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah. But no, I this is good. I feel like you do enjoy what you love.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot because if you're gonna not have a 9 to 5 regular type of job, you go into this. Gigs are not official. I could tell somebody like, hey, I need to book you. And then my client tells me like, hey, I'm sorry, I want to go with my friend, they're free. And then this person doesn't book anything else, and then it's canceled, and that's a whole slice of their income that's out. And then they have to find out where you're going to get it again. Yeah. So there's that other side, and that's like the entrepreneur side. But I'm going to say it takes a real performer to perform real good, like to perform as if there's millions in front of you and to still have that same energy when there's nobody in the room. Yeah. So I give you props because you do carry the space very well. Yeah. It's not an awkward silence ever. So that's really good. But before we end, I know you have an original. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I want to hear you. I want everybody else. Well, I hear you all the time. I want other people to hear how talented you are. So. Okay. This song is, we'll do a snippet of it. Yeah. At least a little bit. It's called Time and Space. I wrote it during the pandemic. And and so it was just we had too much time and space apart. So I wrote a song that brings people, bringing close together. And I like the R&B, neo soul, Ooh, I like. And all the music that I ever write is all real musicians. Sometimes not the drums, but I got there are some great musicians out in LA. So. Called Time and Space. Let me get that reverb. Baby, let's get physical. We can't fight this force. It's pulling us so close that we are on a collision course. And I know you're attracted. And darling, so am I. Based on our reactions, babe, some sparks are gonna fly. Time and space, yeah. We just need some time and space. Yeah. Baby, pick a time and a place, yeah. And I come running, I come running back to you, yeah. And I just want you close to me, so we can share a bond. And I can feel your energy, yeah. And then girl, you're gonna like how I respond. And let me look you up and down, taking your dimensions. I bet you didn't know this about me, but check it out. I'm a man of science, baby, 'cause I always pay attention. Now time and space, ooh, yeah. Time and space, the time and space, the time, baby. I'll be right by your side. All right, and then at this part, I would have a saxophone solo. Next time we'll come in, I'll bring the sax and bring the whole rig. We'll do a setup for you guys. But yeah, that's my song, Time and Place. That was good. You did all that. Right. You did all that. Wow, that's good. Yeah, I do the all the instruments. No. I wish. I know my limits. It's like I always say, everybody has their own job. I know that my job is pulling people together and doing my singing, my saxophoning, and I do all the mixing and mastering. But when it comes to, and I do most of the producing, but like
I don't play keys and stuff. So I call my guys in and be like, look, I need this and this and this, and this is what I'm going for. And then once we lock down the chord structure and things like that and get the drums going, then I bring in those guitars and the bass and just some of my, and it's cool when it comes to me putting a band together, whether it's live or in the studio. If you don't know how to solo, I don't book you. That's kind of like my stipulation. And the reason is because if you can't solo effectively or even solo basically, that means you can't think for yourself.
Multitask and everything.
You're not thinking for yourself. You're just playing what somebody else tells you to do. And I'm like, I don't want that, because all my music is like that. It's like all has feel to it, to where, and it's not just my.
I could
feel.
go to sleep to that. I ain't gonna lie. I'll play that to sleep. Play that on a bubble bath or something.
You know what's crazy? Because I don't sell my music anymore. I've made a lot of songs. I got like 4.5 hours of all my original music that when somebody grabs on my business card, they scan the QR code and they hit the play button and it just plays everything.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm not worried about, like I said, becoming famous or having my own name or whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to work. So now if me working here in Vegas gets me, say, a residency where my name is on a billboard, well, whatever. That's cool.
Get him at that residency, you guys.
I don't know. If you got a spot, I sing, I play sax, I do all the 80s and 90s R&B, all the old school. I'm adding a segment of all the yacht rock. I've been doing all the yacht rock for ages, and I just didn't know what it was called yacht rock until they came out with. There's a new documentary called Yacht Rock, and they talk about how that term got on top of that music with the Doobie Brothers and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I do all that music already.
Yeah. Now you got a name to it.
But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Rick. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, no, thank you. Much talent. Any last words you want to share with us?
Huge shout out to PHLV for this killer studio and all the work you guys do here in Vegas. And
Johan.
And I know the Filipino crowd is big, so I'm sure I've played to some of you out there in LA and different places. And that's it. You can find me rickparma.com. That's the easiest way to,
All right, make sure to go stalk him, you guys.
Nice.
All right, till next time.
Come on out to C3 on Sunday, 7:30.
Woo!
Spring
Shanghai
Mountain
Plaza. All right, guys. Bye.